What I have here is like a, I have a show that encapsulates the last 30 years or so of my work as kind of touching on the my interests along the way and technical developments that happened. The first sound art piece that I made was the metal skirt sound sculpture. This piece had guitar strings from the edge of the skirt down to the toes and heels of my shoes, and was activated simply through walking. When I stepped forward, the string on the back stretched out and produced a rising gliss. The front string squeezed in, produced a descending gliss. But the same thing was happening in the opposite way on the other leg. So I have a video here of myself performing this piece. So, and then the next piece that I started on is what has been captured my interest ever since, the long string instrument. It began with one string attached. I had a smaller container of water. The water in the container, as the container tilted, changed the resonance in the container, and I could modulate the tone. And what happens here is that the wire is coated with rosin, violin rosin. I rub the wire with my hands and produces a tone. The bucket there, the bowl, was amplified. And here, slightly more complex installation where the strings are actually tuned, and I'm tuning with these C-clamps here, these off-the-shelf C-clamps. This is my first installation in the Terminal New York show. It's a show of 600 artists in Brooklyn from the Williamsburg kind of neighborhood, and I built my instrument. I just built a wooden box because I wanted to have an acoustic sound. And here's give you an idea of what it sounded like. So I was fascinated with this because I knew nothing about music, but in a sense, it was like a theremin for me. It was just these were the first sounds that I made, and it was very exploratory, and I felt like I could sound magically kind of like a chamber ensemble just by moving my arms on these strings. But at the same time, it was very unmanageable, which this video shows. There's that nice sound, but so this project has been kind of a wild beast that I've been trying to tame all these years, working on timbre. This is a spread here showing the discovery or the description of this phenomenon by John Tyndall in his book Sound. This was published at the turn of the century. He's an English theorist, and this diagram here is showing that when a string is played in longitudinal mode, that is, when stroked along the length, it produces a tone. And this is showing like how the string divides up into various modes and produces overtones. And the method of tuning a string, which is played in the longitudinal mode, is taking the speed of the wave divided by the length to find the frequency, or vice versa. Speed of the wave divided by the frequency will give the string length at which you'll get that tone. And that's how I have a spreadsheet. And I work out my tuning system that way. But this is one of my first compositions. It's a duet. And what it is a sequence of chords. It's just chord changes. And I had to find another way of creating notation, because standard notation makes no sense. On an instrument which can be played with very long duration, it's kind of the bowing stroke is really like the entire length of the string. So that takes minutes. So I really couldn't use standard notation. I had to describe time in a different way, and I decided to describe time by distance walked. This is showing a sequence of chord changes, and I'm tuning in just intonation, which is a numerically based system based on the overtone series. So this is a duet, and the first box in the top left corner that's the top line is my part. The one below it is my colleague Arnold Dreiblatt played this with me, and what we did was we began at the wooden resonator box bridge and walked together, and it was a sequence of chords where we walked together in unison, in and out, and that was the only way I could come up with knowing how to track the parts was to just stay together. So the next idea I had was that when one performer walked out, the other one walked in. And so that this way we could watch each other and track. And then as one person's was changing to a new chord, that gap of silence was covered over by the other performer. So this made a smoother kind of transition. But again, this is very simple as far as composition goes, and I wanted to be able to do more complex things. I saw this piece of Guatemalan fabric, and I thought that looks like music. It looks, these geometric repeated shapes, to me, looked like minimalist music with repeating parts. And I created this notation system where I placed colored lines on the floor that were at proportionate lengths to each other. And there in the notation, I could make transitions occur like at proportionate lengths of time. And so you see here with the this blue line is twice as long as the yellow. So this person moving to the yellow plays two different chords, while the blue line is just sustaining this during the entire time. And then I was able to create, more complicated ways of harmonic motion. And I have a video of this piece. really high point for me to work with that ensemble. But I began to feel that I wanted to find a way to articulate dynamics with this instrument. If you notice, like, our tone was always as loud as possible. And if you were there and could hear this over a big sound system, it was very loud. And the tone, we were always at the highest possible dynamic range. That was simply because I didn't know how to change dynamics. I didn't know how to play softly. I wasn't able to get a nice tone quality at a soft level or just touching it very lightly. It took me actually years of practice to be able to do that, and I became dissatisfied with the technique from that era, and set out to come up with articulations and dynamics for this instrument and different styles of playing it. This piece, this is a slide of a duet that I performed in '89. And while we were recording this, a train passed by, and I'm going to play an excerpt of this, of the train. Is there any way to make it louder here? Train. When that happened, I was so inspired by the complexity of that sound harmonically, and I wanted to be able to compose that. I wanted the composition. My composition was very straightforward harmonically, and when that train came through, it was a major inspiration. I really love the expressivity of the dissonance that occurred there. This slide shows a comparison of my instrument with the cello. My instrument is the yellow, and a cello is blue. We're both playing concert A, 440, and the cello and long string instrument in the lower frequency range, which is like at the fundamental level, are nearly matched. But you see, like up in the higher range, up in the upper partials, the long string instrument partials are very strong all the way up, and up here is like so-called beyond the range of hearing, which is like up in 40K. You still see very evenly spiked partials. So you might not get a sense of this from my presentation today, but all of my work and concerns are in my music are up here in this range, which we can't really, get too much of a sense of with the sound system and everything. But working with partials and overtones, strings, as I said before, vibrate simultaneously in different modes all at once. And so if you're playing, say, an A, all of these other notes are compounded in that sound of A. And in my instrument, all of these partials are very, very strongly pronounced. And what I did was I created this. This is like an elastic band that I marked up with divisions of the entire length of the band, representing these different partials. And so if I started at the bridge of the resonator and then stretched out the elastic to any length, my instrument's tuned by length, and I can stretch it out and hook it onto the capo, and that marks out like a map of the partials. I use that when I'm composing. I can locate different partials along the length as I'm walking. And this is kind of a visualization of that idea, where this is the resonator box. I'm using, instead of colored lines, numbers on the floor at metric divisions. And these graphics represent the partials, and you'll see that in some places, like here, the blue is at the same as the pink, and like this is an octave here. But so as I'm walking, I can see these. If I'm playing a chord, I can see the alignments, and here as well. But this is a score using the numbers on the floor to choreograph my sequence, because the timbre or timbral changes along the length of the string. And so these numbers on the top here are the pitches that I'm playing, and then I have kind of a icons which describe articulations. And so this is my most complex composition to date, and I have a little video of it using spike cams mounted on my wrist to show the more micro gestures that occur as I play. This is another way of articulating percussively my instrument. I created this tool, the box bow, and have these graphics which represent different gestures. And I came up with this notation. This is in 4/4 time. Place those graphics within a grid, and to show you what that sounds like. It's two patterns juxtaposed against each other. And this is how I composed this work. I juxtaposed patterns against each other randomly and slid them in time to find interesting combinations. This is the notation for that piece. The top line is the percussive part, which is duet, and then this other notation, which is similar to what you saw before, is the part that I played, which is a sequence of chord changes. And I performed this piece in this space in Austin, Texas, Fullman power plant. It's a closer image of the installation. See how my installation is just over in this one little segment, and there we are. And then these are the performers who played the box bow part. I'm going to play a little piece of that. And to conclude, where I am now really is in the middle of some redesigning of my Resonator boxes. This is a new resonator that I made myself, and I'm taking classes at Tech Shop in San Francisco, and learned some joinery techniques. And the box that I had previously been using, the front plate there, you see the soundboard, is something designed by an instrument builder. It's 25 years old, and I've been able to retain that because the whole structure is modular. That is, the soundboard is sliding in through this groove. The back plate has another routed groove that it slides into, and it's all held together by the string pressure. So I can change out parts. I can put on a different type of wood back plate, different thicknesses. I can redesign things, and it's all modular. And what I found out is that mahogany has a beautiful tone. My Resonator boxes have been made out of plywood all of these years, and the tone quality is on a whole different level. And although this kind of looks here kind of like a Danish modern drawer, on the inside, I've been tuning this wood and working with tap tone. And I got this beautiful little Japanese plane, and be careful, the blade is on the bottom, but and this much shaving is, yeah, you can pass it around and just be careful, don't hurt yourself, but this is 10 cents. If any of you are familiar with cents in terms of tuning, 100 cents there are 100 divisions between a half step and a musical interval, and so this represents like 10 cents of shavings out of that one of those boards, and I can tune it really accurately, and the resonance is really, it's just wonderful. So that's what I'm doing right now. Does anyone? Thank you.